If you hear a fart, run. If you see a dog doing the Macarena on its hind legs at 3 in the morning on your Ring doorbell camera, that is not a dog. If you see a tree in the forest, it is not a tree. Leave.
So tell me why I was literally just shitting my fucking pants because I looked over at my right and this dog just kind of just looked at me straight in the face and then winked at me. It's okay, buddy. Oh, don't hop up on my car. Hey, do me one favor and please just try and get back to your owner, okay? Like, there's a road right there where people go really fast. See, like that car right there? I could have killed you. Where the fuck did it go?
This isn't a normal horse. I've looked up a weird situation like this. It's actually a skinwalker trying to form itself like an animal.
Fine, bitch. You want a hug? Huh? You want a hug? You'll get a hug.
If you see this man on the Appalachian Trail, that is your sign to run. This is Stephen Roy Carter. He was a man that lived in a cave along the Appalachian Trail in Pennsylvania, and he was known for fixating on solo female travelers. And to show you how much of a threat he was, let me tell you a story. This is coming from a deep dive episode I just did on some of the scariest Appalachian Trail stories, but in 1981, a woman named Rebecca and her girlfriend Claudia were hiking in the Appalachian Trail near where Stephen lived in his cave. Their first interaction with Stephen was actually when Rebecca went to the bathroom near one of the trail stops and actually saw Stephen inside the bathroom waiting for her, and he was completely naked. She was able to run away from that situation, but what she didn't know was as they were leaving that camp area, Stephen was stalking her and her girlfriend. Eventually, the two women found a secluded area along the trail to set up camp and hang out with each other, but what they didn't know was Stephen was watching them from the forest, and all of a sudden, he opened fired on them. Rebecca was tragically killed by Stephen, but Claudia was able to survive and run and get help. Eventually, Stephen was brought to court for this crime, and he said that the reason he did it was because he knew that the women were in a relationship, and that enraged him so much that he felt this overwhelming urge to kill. And maybe it's because he felt rejected by the women that he chose to open fire, but his defense tried to say that who wouldn't be mad by seeing two women put their homosexual lifestyle on display for all? Like, how can you blame him for what he did? Stephen is currently serving a life sentence, but this story is still one of the scariest things that's ever happened on the Appalachian Trail. And if you want to hear more of those stories, make sure you check out this episode of the Heart Starts Pounding podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Where I live in the Appalachian Mountains, we have the no you don't rules, and last night those rules saved my life. The rules are: if you hear something, no you don't. If you see something, no you don't. And if something calls your name, no it didn't, and leave quickly without running. Last night something was on my porch walking with soft but thudding footsteps. I closed my curtains as tight as I could and locked my bedroom door. The footsteps never went away. I was awake until almost 3 a.m. and I could still hear them. But never once did I look out my window or leave my room. I could tell the longer it went on, the angrier it got. It would move faster and more frequently, and I heard a distorted growl that sounded like a drill stripping a screw. I could have shrugged it off as a wild animal, but I knew better. And what happens next told me it was not just some animal. I was on a phone call with my friend to make it think I wasn't alone. But then the call kept dropping, and my friend told me that he kept hearing static through the phone. I then tried to call my next-door neighbor, who I am also friends with. She never picked up, but every time the phone rang, I could hear the static my friend was talking about. I ended up falling asleep sometime around 3 a.m. When I woke up, it was broad daylight, and the footsteps were gone. When talking to my neighbor on Discord, she told me she was outside around the same time and told me she saw something that looked like a weird wolf. So I know I wasn't imagining things last night.
Come on, guys.
What's that, Dad?
I don't. Let's go. Let's go back inside. Come on. Come on, guys.
Have you guys heard of the feral people in the Appalachian Mountains? I went down the rabbit hole of Appalachian Mountain TikTok and let me just tell you, I'm freaked out. So apparently deep in the Appalachian Mountains, there are groups of people that are absolutely feral and practice cannibalism, if you know what I mean. Apparently a whole bunch of people disappear in this Appalachian Trail area, most of them without a trace. That brings me to the sad case of Dennis Martin, a 6, almost 7-year-old that disappeared in 1969 in the Appalachian Mountains after going camping with his dad. Let's get into it, guys, and you tell me what you think. So basically, Dennis and his dad had gone out camping and took a break and actually met up with another family, coincidentally enough, had the same last name, Martin. So both of the Martin families sit down and their kids play with Dennis. They're chilling, shooting the breeze, letting the kids do what they do, and they start to do this hide and seek game, during which each of the children pops out in like a surprise kind of way. Now, when it was Dennis's turn, he was nowhere to be found. At that point, his dad shoots up and starts searching everywhere for Dennis, immediately freaking out, as he should. They had literally just took a 2-hour and 16 hike all the way to Spencefield. So Dennis could literally be anywhere. In the middle of all this green was a little boy by himself, scared. So immediately they all go to the authorities and explain what happened. At this point, everybody's looking. 400 people volunteered to look for Dennis, but to no avail because they never found him. Now, if you know anything about the lore of the Appalachian Mountains, a lot of people say that it's haunted and they often hear women and children / babies screaming in the woods. And people say that it's skinwalkers trying to get you to interact with them and go straight in. And we all know what happens when you go straight in. However, a lot of people don't think that this is paranormal at all. They think that Dennis was actually taken by the feral people, only because about a month after his disappearance, a man was in the woods that, might I add, he told the authorities and they came and took a look themselves. Allegedly, the little footprint was the exact size of Dennis's feet and the print was of the exact shoe he was wearing. And next to that footprint was a larger one of a bare foot. So at that point, everyone's wondering who would be out here barefoot with somebody that's wearing shoes. That doesn't make any sense. And shortly after this man found these footprints, he heard a piercing scream that sounded to be of a child from inside the woods. Now, some people say it's the piercing scream of the skinwalkers that wanted him to come in so that they can do things to him. Other people say that might have just been Dennis Martin. I definitely wouldn't say this is directly linked, but let's just look at this map. So this bottom map shows the cave systems of the Appalachian Trail. This top map shows you how many people disappear per year on this trail. It has the same swoop as the swoop of the cave systems. Could it be that these feral people actually reside in these cave systems and use them to kidnap and do other things to travelers that take this trail? You guys tell me. Obviously, all of this is alleged. None of it is proven fact. But when I heard about this story, I had to cover it.
Yo, no one's home right now, and I'm telling you right now, there's someone mimicking my girl's voice.
It's me! Let me in! let me in.
El diablo anda suelto, va pisando el mismo pavimento, recorriendo el barrio por completo, igual y me la fleto.
Yeah, that's a hell no.
I decided to visit my best friend after work today, and I got here before they did. And there's literally, I walked in here and like something started knocking on the back door back there. You can hear it. Stop! Now, okay, so you might think it might be the neighbor or something, or like a dog or something at the door, but look. We're on the second floor. And there's like literally nobody. There's like nobody here. And I'm by myself. We were done with this crap.
Yo, what the fuck is that?
Yo, what's...
Fuck! Run! Run!
Guys, wait!
Run!
Oh. No.
And I had a birth certificate, but there was a flood and it washed away. I don't exist in the eyes of the government. Jeez. Trying to get to this other tree. I think I'm gonna ride this one down.
So hitchhiking is still alive for you?
Definitely.
Not a problem.
At one time I was going to Tennessee, and a state trooper stopped, and he asked me questions, and I told him where I'm going and everything. And he's like, so, do you have any dangerous or concealed weapons on you? And I was like, I have a pocket knife, does that count? He's like, no, that doesn't count. He's like, get in. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh no, like, where are we going? Like, he didn't tell me what's happening, you know, so I'm riding along. And then he got on his radio and I was like, what's going on? And so then he's like, well, I patrol about a 10-mile range here. He said, I'm taking you as far as my range is, but I radioed ahead to tell my buddies that if they see you walking or whatever, pick you up and give you a ride. And I was like, oh, thank you, Mr. Officer. So then he drops me off at this exit, and I was standing on the ramp, you know, praying for a ride. And then this city police shows up, and he's like, are you hitchhiking? He said, hitchhiking is illegal in the state of Kentucky. And I thought, oh no, if I say no, then that's kind of like a lie. If I say no, I'm not hitchhiking. But if I say yes, then I'm incriminating myself. So like the Holy Spirit gave me like an answer right that I needed. I said, well, officer, I am prepared to walk and I'm prepared to ride. So he asked me the same question twice, and I give him the same answer. And he looked me up and down, and he's like, well, I could take you in. He said, but you look like you're okay. You have to stay on the state highways. So I was like, okay. But I didn't know my way. I was like, please, Father in heaven, give me a ride soon. And so that I got a ride real quick and I was gone out of there.
Do you hitchhike with bare feet?
In the summertime, yes. But not in the wintertime. It's not healthy to go barefoot in the wintertime.
No driver's license, no identification. What about social security card?
I don't have one. No. My parents did establish a social security number for me, like, and the card said not valid unless signed. So I never signed it. And then I studied the issue, and I decided to revoke my social security number.
So in a way, you don't exist.
Yeah. And I had a birth certificate, but there was a flood and it washed away. So I don't have that either. I don't exist in the eyes of the government, but I do exist in the lives of people that know me and my Father in heaven.
I have no clue what happened to Titus. He took off.
The stories that us Appalachian people tell you about the spooky stuff that goes on in our woods, you know, the Mothman, the cryptids, the not deer, the feral people, that we're all just making it up so that you Californians don't pack up your whole family and move here and turn a single-story ranch home into $1 million investment and ruin what's left of our natural beauty. You know, we could just be telling stories. But maybe we're not. And here's the thing, we're not gonna tell you. So, you wanna take the risk? I don't think you do. Country road.
They heard screams in the Appalachian Mountains, so they walked toward them and immediately saw an old water tower where the noises were coming from. So they started the climb, unaware of the danger they were in. And one of them noticed it was part of an entire abandoned town, but they kept going up, thinking someone might need help. And the worst was yet to come, because after climbing about 20 meters, they realized no one could scream like that, and it could be bait played through speakers to lure them in. So they ran down and called for help, but they were so deep in the forest they couldn't reach anyone. And their nightmare had only begun after they got lost in that huge deserted town. Because after 2 hours, the same screams came from a massive pitch-black cave inside that town, which was completely unsecured, so it felt unreal, and that's when they started seriously panicking and decided to go inside one of the homes to possibly find some answers. And inside, they found items that were completely stuck in time. But as night fell, they decided to separate to find an exit faster, and as one of them explained that this video is exactly why you should avoid these mountains. He suddenly saw a white figure staring from the bushes, and he had no idea what it was, but it was watching him, and after a few seconds, it launched at him, and they ran for 10 minutes non-stop, and he barely managed to catch his breath, but he recorded the entire chase and multiple close calls until the video randomly cuts.
He wanted to prove that skinwalkers don't exist by going inside a forest allegedly full of these creatures, and it didn't end well. He started off by calling them in their native tongue. But nothing happened yet, except that he felt like he was being watched and heard some noises. But that's normal in the middle of the forest. So after seeing some poop, he decided it was time to use the death whistle to summon the creatures, which, as you may already know from my previous video, can be heard even from several hundred meters and can easily attract a skinwalker. After using it, he heard the rustling in the bushes again.
Well, I started to hear some rustling off in the bushes, so I decided to go investigate because, well, that was the only logical thing to do. But, you know, that's honestly maybe a little bit more concerning because I'm not really sure what animal's out here, and I'm starting to feel like I'm being watched even more.
It seemed that his bravery had scared off the creatures, but to confirm they don't exist, he decided the next most logical thing to do was performing one last ritual before leaving. And after his video went viral, many people commented saying they saw Skinwalker's eyes staring at him in the background.
I'm pretty far out in this forest completely alone, and my gut's telling me to turn around, so I'm going to do exactly the opposite of what it says and do one of the most terrifying things I've ever done.
After watching it, let me know if you believe they are real.
Skinwalker, Skinwalker, Skinwalker. I'm bait for ya. Come and get me and prove that you're real. Unless you're a coward.
POV, you moved into a house in the Appalachian Mountains and woke up to this the next morning.
the Appalachian Mountains. If you even stay in those mountains, you would either hear knocks or whistles. And the whole thing is like, if you even knock or whistle back, like you'll allow that spirit to f with you. So there's one guy, and he already has 20 million views on his video. I'll show you it after. But he went to the Appalachian Mountains for work. And he's just videoing with his friends, and he sees something crazy. I'll just show you the video, and let's see if you see it.
Yeah.
But it's trending right now. Hold on. 6 days ago, watch.
Famille, j'espère que vous allez bien, moi ça par la grâce de Dieu. Je suis comme ça en train d'aller à l'école. Mais je pense que le professeur ne va pas venir aujourd'hui. Donc je retourne à la maison. Je pars à l'école, c'est bon. Je ne retourne pas.
You saw that face?
Yeah.
Keith, get up here. Get away from him. Come on, guys. You okay?
Kids, you get up here now, and you get away from that floating demon in the woods now. Come on, your mom's making hamburger helper. Now, kids, I'm telling you to leave that demon alone. He don't want to play with you. He wants to consume your soul. Now, get up here, kids, before I miss the new episode of Big Brother. This is, by far, one of the most convincing paranormal videos I have ever seen by a very clearly concerned father. But you know what? They are from West Virginia. And what small child in West Virginia has not been taught the ways of dealing with demons in the woods, even if it's a demon being pulled along by a string?
This security footage captured the homeowner's dog looking suspiciously out over their yard. The dog begins to bark as something spooks him. Suddenly, a strange set of disembodied legs runs across the background. The dog appears to be surprised by the sighting and heads inside. Looking more closely, the legs appear small and run at speed.
Fucking cocksucker. You ain't even from New York, bitch! Come on! I've been from fucking Queens, baby! You don't even know pizza, you fucking cocksucker! Come on, Tony, let's go! Tony, let's go! Go fuck yourself! Ah, okay, you fucking cocksucker.
When we work night security 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. and we see something coming at us at midnight.
Who is it? Raylan!
Rules of the Appalachia. That shit's horrifying. A lot of people do hike the Appalachian Trail, and one of the main things they all know not to do is to hike from dusk to dawn. Don't go into the mountains after dark. There's a marked trail, stay on it. Do not veer off any trail or path. Everything is marked for a reason.
That's a blaze. 2 inches by 6 inches. It's what we follow. They're everywhere. They may be on a bridge, they may be on a tree. They're usually always on trees, but sometimes they're on the ground, on a rock, on a building, on a light post. That's what we follow. This morning, I didn't follow it. I wasn't paying attention.
There's numerous stories where people said they hear a woman or a baby in distress. And a really common belief is that if you hear something calling you right in your vicinity, it's actually really far away. But if you hear something calling you from far away, there's a good chance it's actually standing right next to you. It's not just screams that's a big deal. Whistling seems to be a big deal also. If you hear whistling, you didn't hear whistling. You're not even supposed to whistle. Tap your friend on their shoulder, but don't use their real name. Using real names just gives whatever it is a closer relationship with whoever's name it learns. Don't ever stare off into the forest. You could be looking at one thing in the forest, but there could be 100 things looking back at you. Anything you hear or see is not your business. Keep doing what you were doing and don't pay any attention to it. Some of the most common sightings in these areas are Bigfoot, skinwalkers, cryptids, and there's even been UFO sightings. Not to forget that this whole area is loaded with caverns and caves too. So it's not just the things that are above the ground that you have to worry about. There's even more stuff underground.
Why would I need to be armed in the Appalachian?
Okay, Josh, I'm about to answer the question that you really don't want the answer to. But this right here is where I live. This right here is the Appalachian Mountains. Let me show you why we stay out of the woods. This was caught on my parents' neighbor's trail cam that is set up over their deer feeder. And that's what you see, deer feeder, deer running away. But this, Josh, this is why you got those comments. What is that? Anybody want to tell me what that is? Let me zoom in for you. So yeah, that is why we stay out of the woods. That is why we do not go wandering around the woods at night alone. That is why we keep walking if we are out alone and something says our name. That right there is why we stay out of the Appalachian Mountains. I hope that helps, and sorry for the nightmares.
I'm currently being stalked and followed by a tree that is not a tree. And I know what that sounds like, but I do live in the Appalachian Mountains, so I feel like that explains itself, but we're gonna get into it. Because I kind of left you guys in a weird space last night with some of my updates, and I just needed to sit down and film everything and just put it all together. If you don't need or want a backstory, skip to this timestamp of what happened yesterday. But here's a little backstory. So this started a few weeks ago when I was vlogging, just like working on my family's farm, and we heard a strange noise, we being myself and my husband. So we tried to pretend we didn't, we were just filming our surroundings, we saw this weird tree, it clicked to me that it might not be a tree, and we left. Well, later on, I get a phone call from a relative saying, I remember you talking about that tree, it's not there. So I make that update, and then a lot of you guys here on the comments were like, please go see if that tree's there. And even before that update, I was getting asked to please go see if that tree was still there. So anyways, this morning I go, and the tree's in fact gone. It's been a few weeks. The grass has grown really tall. There's like a full tree there now, like a bush, not a tree. But that tree, quotes, it's more like a giant twig, but it's nowhere to be found.
Nope. No, that tree's sure not there.
So I filmed that area, turned to walk back out, and the field across from the road from where we were sits that tree. Near some farm equipment. In one of the clips that I showed, I was trying to show that the tree was gone because I turned around to do something, turned back, and it was gone from that field just that quickly. You literally can't see it in the clip. I think I was panicked and like wasn't getting it in the shot. Anyways, whatever. So we promptly leave after that. We get home later on, and when I open my front door, this twig is right in front of it. Right in front of my bookshelf. So we just walked back inside. It's a little bit later, and this was right inside of our front door. Like, our front door is right there.
Oh god. You okay?
Ow!
Oh my god.
So we decide, okay, we probably need to take this back to the farm. So we go get 7 Brew first because priorities. And then we head to the farm, and of course the tree's nowhere to be found. It's of course not where it was before. We had seen it move. Not seen it move, but like seen that it had moved. So I'm like, okay, well this is the last place the tree was. We're gonna lay the twig here. Okay. So as we're walking back, I stop to film the sunset because it's so pretty up there. My husband calls me. I look over, and one more moment for the... Yes.
kind of beside where we parked our car is the tree. It's behind a fence post. So I am filming this tree. I'm about to get in the car, and there is a scream. Sounds kind of feminine. Honestly, sounds a little bit like my screams. I'm not gonna lie to you. But anyways, that happens. I drop my phone, I get in the car, and I leave. And that is where we are right now. I am filming this at 2:30 in the morning. Plan on staying up all night. I'm going to get up in the morning and take an offering up to the farm so that this being and I have mutual respect and everything's good and done, and hopefully everything will stop. But this has been a time, and I did not know that I was going to get haunted by a tree this year, but here we are. I hope all that makes sense. I have stopped looking at the comments of those videos because people weren't being nice. So if you guys have any questions, I probably won't see them in any comments to answer them. I'm so sorry. For my brain, I had to remove myself from the comment sections. But I hope I answered all your questions.
You know that joke in the Appalachian Mountains, if you hear your name? No, you didn't. I have a theory. The Appalachian Mountains are known to be exceptionally creepy. So there's this interactive map on dinosaurpictures.org where you can enter your address and a time period to see what your area looked like during different stages of tectonic movement. Here's where I grew up, northern New Hampshire. Now, when the continents were all crammed together about 200 million years ago, and this was Pangea, the Appalachian Mountains are there. And even before Pangea, at about 400 million years ago, it's still there. Now let's go as far back as we can, 750 million years ago, before multi-celled organisms even appear. Boom! My town is there. The rest of the planet, by the way, is water. There are various points in time where this is kind of underwater, but let's just say for funskies that the Appalachians, which is this area kind of, are so creepy because there legitimately are things in this land that just never left. It's just a fun theory. People in the Appalachians love to have them, but what if they've seen things?